Have you ever wondered why Sigma males struggle with 5 common behaviors everyone else does without thinking? Sigma can't do this isn't just a thumbnail slogan, it's a manifesto for those who defy society's invisible rulebook. While most mindlessly drift through life adhering to societal patterns, forcing small talk, mimicking trends, or swallowing opinions to avoid friction, Sigma males reject these rituals not out of spite, but principle. For them, conformity isn't uncomfortable, it's unthinkable. This isn't rebellion, it's radical self-honesty. Where others cling to the safety of the herd, Sigmas thrive in the wilderness of their own making. Psychologists call this intentional independence, a blend of hyper-awareness and refusal to perform hollow traditions. Studies reveal that individuals resistant to social scripting often exhibit stronger problem-solving skills and a relentless drive to pioneer uncharted paths, even when it costs them comfort. To a Sigma, life isn't a checklist of expectations, it's a laboratory for authenticity. While many chase validation through curated personas or mindless routines, Sigmas feel visceral dissonance. Laughter at forced jokes? Chasing viral approval? These aren't just awkward, they're existential betrayals. Their resistance isn't arrogance, it's integrity etched into their DNA. Ask yourself, how much of your life is autopilot? Grinning through soul-draining gatherings, trading passion for pension plans, clinging to norms because everyone does? Sigmas don't weave themselves into that tapestry. Their choices scream a quiet revolution. Why endure a script that deadens the soul? This isn't aloofness, it's the courage to prioritize truth over tribal validation. So, what exactly can't Sigma males force themselves to do? The answers might mirror your unspoken doubts or jolt you awake to routines you've never questioned. Let's dissect these 5 universal habits, not to judge, but to spotlight a mindset that rewrites normal. Whether you resonate or recoil, this isn't just analysis, it's a catalyst. Stay tuned, and you might rethink more than just Sigma behavior, you might rethink everything. Reason 1. Participating in groupthink. Groupthink is that warm, fuzzy trap where people agree just to keep things smooth, like a team picking a terrible plan because no one wants to rock the boat. It's a psychological comfort zone that sacrifices truth for peace, and it's everywhere: workplaces, friend groups, even online echo chambers. Most folks slide into it willingly, craving acceptance over accuracy. Sigma males, though? They're the ones stepping out of line, not to cause chaos, but to chase clarity. What sets them apart isn't just saying no to the crowd, it's how they think it through. They're not contrarians for kicks, they're detectives, sniffing out flaws in the group's logic. Imagine a room full of people nodding at a half-baked idea. Sigmas are the ones raising an eyebrow, asking, hold up, what's the evidence? This isn't about ego, it's about keeping their mind sharp when others let theirs dull. They'd rather wrestle with a tough question alone than coast on collective laziness. In the real world, this pays off big time. Sigma males often spot what others miss, like a coder debugging a system everyone else calls fine. Their refusal to follow the herd makes them problem solvers. Think of innovators who zig when the industry zags. They're not swayed by the loudest voice or the biggest cheer, they're guided by what holds up under scrutiny. It's a superpower that thrives in chaos, turning doubt into breakthroughs. That said, it's not all applause. Their habit of challenging the status quo can ruffle feathers. Some see them as stubborn or aloof. In a society that loves agreement, standing apart can feel lonely. But Sigma males don't mind. They're not here to win friends, they're here to keep it real, and that honesty often lights the way for better ideas, even if it's a solo trek. This ability to resist groupthink also allows them to maintain a level of intellectual independence that is crucial for personal growth. They aren't swayed by the latest trends or popular opinions, but instead, they develop their own well-reasoned perspectives. This independent thinking isn't just a trait, it's a practice, a constant exercise in questioning assumptions and evaluating information. It's about building a fortress of critical thinking that stands firm against the tides of popular sentiment. Furthermore, the Sigma male's resistance to groupthink often translates into a keen ability to anticipate and navigate complex situations. By not being caught up in the collective myopia, they can see potential pitfalls and opportunities that others miss. This foresight allows them to make strategic decisions and take calculated risks, often leading to significant advantages. They understand that true innovation and progress often come from challenging the conventional wisdom and forging a new path. Finally, their aversion to groupthink fosters a culture of authenticity around them. While others might feel pressured to conform, those around a Sigma male know that they will get an honest and unfiltered perspective. This creates an environment where genuine ideas are valued and where people feel safe to express dissenting opinions. While it might not always be comfortable, it leads to more robust and well-rounded discussions, ultimately driving better outcomes. Reason 2: seeking validation from others. We're drowning in a validation frenzy. Likes, retweets, compliments are the modern gold stars we chase. It's a circus where people perform for claps, tweaking their lives to fit the audience's mood. This constant need for approval isn't just loud, it's draining, leaving folks tethered to others' opinions. Sigma males, though, aren't juggling for the crowd, they're grounded in their own quiet confidence. Their secret? They don't rent their self-worth from others, they own it outright. It's like they've got an internal compass, pointing to their own values instead of society's applause meter. This isn't about being smug, it's about knowing that external praise is fickle, like a breeze that shifts direction. Sigmas build their identity on sturdier ground, asking, am I living my truth, rather than, do they like me? This vibe has roots in old-school philosophy. Think of Socrates, unbothered by the mob, or the Stoics shrugging off fame. Sigma males live that detachment, treating feedback like background noise, useful sometimes, but never the main track. It's a rare stance in a world where people crave a spotlight to feel seen. They don't dodge attention, they just don't need it to breathe. The trade-off can be tricky. To those hooked on approval, Sigmas might seem cold or unreachable, like a lighthouse too far from shore. But that distance is their strength. It frees them to grow without the weight of others' expectations, and it quietly nudges the rest of us to wonder, what if we didn't need the crowd's nod to feel whole? This internal validation also allows them to navigate criticism with a level of poise that is often lacking in those who seek external approval. They understand that not everyone will agree with their actions or decisions, and they are comfortable with that. They don't take criticism personally, but rather, they evaluate it objectively, taking what is useful and discarding the rest. This resilience allows them to stay focused on their goals, even in the face of adversity. Moreover, their independence from external validation fosters a sense of authenticity in their relationships. People know that they are dealing with the genuine article, someone who is not putting on a show or trying to impress. This authenticity creates a foundation of trust and respect, which is more valuable than any fleeting praise. They build meaningful connections with those who appreciate them for who they are, not for what they do or say to gain approval. In a world saturated with carefully curated online personas, the Sigma male's lack of need for validation is a refreshing contrast. They are not trying to project an image of perfection or success, but rather, they are focused on living a life that is true to themselves. This authenticity not only benefits them but also inspires others to embrace their own individuality and to seek fulfillment from within. Reason 3. Blindly following social norms. Social norms are the unspoken rules we all know: wear this, work there, celebrate that. They're like a current pulling everyone along, easy to ride if you don't mind drifting. Most people float with it, comforted by the predictable flow. Sigma males, though, aren't drifting, they're paddling their own way, not to rebel, but to figure out what actually fits them. They don't just ignore norms, they interrogate them. Why climb the corporate ladder if it's leaning against the wrong wall? Why follow traditions that feel hollow? It's less about defiance and more about crafting a life that clicks. Picture someone skipping the crowded highway to take a back road, not to prove a point, but because it's their route. Sigmas aren't tearing down the system, they're building their own. This approach has a ripple effect. By living authentically, they show it's possible to ditch the script without fanfare, just steady, quiet choices. It's practical philosophy in action: think for yourself, act for yourself. They're not preaching from a soapbox, they're proving it with their steps, inspiring others to peek beyond the shoulds and supposed tos. The catch is the friction. Society loves its norms, and straying can earn you odd looks or outright pushback. Sigmas shrug it off, they'd rather wrestle with discomfort than wear a mask that doesn't fit. Their path isn't loud, but it's magnetic, pulling others toward a life less scripted and more real. This resistance to blindly following norms allows them to explore unconventional paths and discover unique opportunities that others might overlook. They are not afraid to challenge the status quo and to pursue their passions, even if they deviate from the well-trodden path. This willingness to take risks and to venture into uncharted territory often leads to personal and professional breakthroughs. Furthermore, their ability to question and challenge social norms fosters a spirit of innovation and creativity. They are not bound by conventional thinking, and they are open to new ideas and perspectives. This mindset allows them to approach problems from different angles and to find solutions that others might miss. They are the pioneers who push the boundaries of what is possible and who inspire others to think outside the box. Additionally, their refusal to conform to social norms allows them to build a life that is truly aligned with their values and beliefs. They are not living a life that is dictated by societal expectations, but rather, they are creating a life that is meaningful and fulfilling to them. This authenticity not only benefits them but also inspires others to live more intentionally and to pursue their own unique paths. If you've ever felt that itch to step off the beaten path, to ditch the script everyone else seems to follow, then you're in the right place. This isn't about likes from a million strangers, it's about you liking this moment, this video, because it's speaking straight to you. Picture us sitting down, maybe over a coffee, just cutting through the noise. I'm here to welcome you to the Sigma male community, but don't get it twisted, this isn't some big, loud club. It's your space, a quiet spot where you can breathe and figure out what living on your terms really looks like. You're not just another viewer to me, you're the one I'm unpacking this with, step by step. Here's the deal, I know what it's like to feel out of sync with a world obsessed with fitting in. Maybe you do too. That's why this matters, it's not about fluff or hype. It's you and me digging into the stuff that actually hits home, like why you make the choices you do or what it takes to stand apart without blinking. No pressure, no shoulds, just real talk. So, if this feels like the kind of chat you've been needing, one that's personal, not preachy, then stick with me. Hit that like button if it's clicking for you, because honestly, it's your nod that keeps this going. And hey, while you're at it, subscribe if you want to keep this vibe alive. Next up, we're diving into why guys like you skip the small talk and go straight for what matters. You in? Let's do this together. Reason 4, engaging in small talk. Small talk is the social grease we slather on daily, chit-chat about rain or traffic keeps things humming. It's light, predictable, like a radio jingle you don't hate but don't love. Most people lean into it, happy to fill silence with fluff. Sigma males, though? They'd rather let the silence sit than clog it with words that don't spark. It's not that they can't play the game, they just don't see the point. Their minds hunger for meatier stuff, ideas, debates, questions that dig beneath the surface. Small talk feels like an appetizer when they're craving a full course. Think of them skipping, nice day, her what's your take on AI? It's a wiring thing, depth fuels them, while chatter just fizzles out. This shapes their social orbit. Sigmas don't hoard shallow ties, they seek out a handful of connections that run deep, like roots over weeds. They're the friend you call at midnight to unpack life's big mysteries, not the one you ping about your commute. It's not standoffish, it's selective, pouring their energy into talks that leave both sides richer. The downside? They can come off as distant or intense in a world that loves breezy banter. Casual settings might feel like a mismatch, they're the quiet one in the corner while everyone else swaps pleasantries. But crack their shell with a real question, and you've got a conversation that sticks with you. Their filter isn't a wall, it's a gate to something deeper. This aversion to small talk also enables them to focus their mental energy on more productive and meaningful pursuits. They are not wasting time on superficial interactions, but rather, they are investing their time in activities that align with their goals and values. This focus allows them to delve deeper into their interests and to develop a greater understanding of the world around them. Furthermore, their preference for deep conversations fosters a sense of intellectual curiosity and a thirst for knowledge. They are constantly seeking to learn and to grow, and they are drawn to those who share their passion for exploration. This mindset not only enriches their own lives but also inspires those around them to engage in more thoughtful and meaningful discussions. In a society that often prioritizes quantity over quality in social interactions, the Sigma male's focus on depth is a refreshing contrast. They are not concerned with accumulating a large number of superficial connections, but rather, they are focused on building a small network of meaningful relationships. This approach allows them to cultivate genuine bonds and to create a support system that is based on mutual respect and understanding. Reason 5, living for the weekend. Life's a slog for plenty of folks, 5 days of grind, 2 days of freedom, rinse, repeat. The weekend's a carrot dangled at the end of a stick, promising relief from the daily trudge. It's a pattern so baked into culture it's almost sacred. Sigma males, though, don't buy into that, they're not trudging toward Friday, they're shaping every day to count. They don't split life into work and play compartments. If a job's a soulsuck, they'll pivot, not to slack off, but to find something that lights them up. It's about weaving purpose into the fabric of their week, not unraveling it for a quick escape. Imagine someone tweaking their routine so Monday feels as alive as Saturday. That's the Sigma move, steady and intentional. While others chase weekend highs, parties, getaways, Sigmas chase something slower, deeper. They're not against fun, they just don't save it for a 48-hour window. It's the difference between gulping a shot and savoring a brew, their joys spread out, not binged. They're less about fleeing monotony and more about building a life that doesn't need a break. It's not a flawless trait, plenty of driven types share this mindset, so it's not exclusive to Sigmas. And in a culture that bonds over TGIF, they might seem out of sync. But that's their edge, they don't wait for permission to live fully. They're not racing to the finish line, they're redefining the track. This integrated approach to life allows them to maintain a consistent level of motivation and engagement throughout the week. They are not relying on a temporary escape to recharge, but rather, they are creating a lifestyle that sustains their energy and passion. This consistency allows them to achieve their goals more efficiently and to maintain a greater sense of well-being. Furthermore, their ability to find fulfillment in their daily lives fosters a sense of inner peace and contentment. They are not constantly seeking external sources of happiness, but rather, they are finding joy in the present moment. This mindfulness allows them to appreciate the simple things in life and to cultivate a deeper sense of gratitude. In a world that often glorifies the pursuit of fleeting pleasures and instant gratification, the Sigma male's focus on sustainable fulfillment is a powerful contrast. They are not chasing the next big thing, but rather, they are building a life that is meaningful and fulfilling in the long term. This approach allows them to live a life of purpose and to create a legacy that extends beyond the weekend. And there we have it, 5 everyday habits that Sigma males simply cannot stomach, not out of spite or a need to rebel, but because their very nature recoils at the hollow rhythm so many of us follow without a second thought. We kicked off this journey asking why some people can't, or won't, slide into the routines the world takes for granted, the forced small talk at crowded gatherings, the relentless churn of the 9 to 5 grind, the endless scroll for validation through likes and retweets. What we've uncovered isn't just a list of quirks, it's a window into a mindset that dares to question the script. For Sigma males, this isn't a phase or a flex, it's a quiet, resolute stand for something deeper. They're not avoiding these habits to stand out, they're rejecting them because they see through the facade of what society stamps as normal, choosing instead a path that resonates with their own unfiltered truth. Picture the scene, while most of us drift along, swept up in the unspoken rules of the game, plastering on polite smiles at events we'd rather skip, grinding through soul-draining schedules for a paycheck or a fleeting weekend escape, chasing approval in metrics that vanish by morning, Sigmas stand apart. They're not judging from the sidelines, they're observing, dissecting, refusing to play along when the stakes feel meaningless. It's not rebellion for its own sake, it's a kind of deliberate independence, a trait psychologists link to razor-sharp self-awareness and an allergy to mindless tradition. They can't fake enthusiasm for shallow chit-chat or bow to routines that stifle the soul, not because they're contrary, but because their wiring demands substance over superficiality. They're living proof that you don't need the herd's approval to find solid ground, sometimes the truest path is the one you forge alone, guided by your own compass. But let's pause and turn the lens on ourselves. What about you? Have you ever caught yourself coasting through the motions, nodding along to keep the peace, or chasing a dream you're not even sure is yours? These 5 habits we've unpacked aren't just a Sigma thing, they're a mirror reflecting back at all of us. Maybe you felt it too, that quiet itch when the crowd's chatter feels like noise, that subtle disconnect when normal starts to taste like a lie. Have you ever stopped mid-step and wondered, why am I doing this? Why do we cling to patterns that weigh us down more than they lift us up? What would your days feel like if you let go of the autopilot and leaned into what actually lights you up? Sigmas don't just sidestep these habits, they throw down a gauntlet, daring us to sift through the clutter of our own lives and ask, what's real here? What's worth keeping? It's not about copying their playbook, it's about finding your own. This isn't the end of the road, it's where the pavement cracks open, inviting you to step off and explore. These 5 refusals are more than a Sigma trademark, they're a spark, a nudge to dig deeper into the why behind what we do. If any of this struck a chord, if you've ever felt out of sync with the crowd, if the weight of normal has ever felt suffocating, or if you've sensed a pull to break free and just haven't named it yet, let's keep this alive together. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What habit do you secretly despise that everyone else seems to love? When have you felt that itch to walk away from the script, and what held you back, or pushed you forward? Maybe you're already carving your own way, share that story. This isn't a lecture hall, it's a campfire, a space to swap perspectives and wrestle with what it means to live deliberately in a world that's too cozy with autopilot. So, if you're hooked on decoding what makes Sigma males tick, or if you're just itching to shake up your own lens on life, hit that subscribe button and join us here at the Sigma male community. We're not just picking apart a mindset, we're peeling back the layers of a world that's forgotten how to question itself. And trust me, we're nowhere near done. Stick around, because next time, we're diving even deeper into the habits Sigmas don't just sidestep, but actively dismantle, brick by brick, to build something truer. Maybe you'll find a piece of your own story in there too. Until then, keep your eyes sharp, your questions bolder, and don't be afraid to stray off the beaten path. The view might just take your breath away. See you in the next one. Now, let's look at this through a lens that resonates with the core principles of Stoicism, without resorting to rote quotes or historical figure name-dropping. Consider the Sigma male's aversion to groupthink. It's not merely about being contrary, it's about discerning what is within one's control, the clarity of one's own judgment. To be swayed by the collective is to surrender that control, to allow external forces to dictate internal conviction. The Sigma male understands that true freedom lies in the unwavering pursuit of reasoned understanding, irrespective of popular opinion. This isn't cold detachment, it's the cultivation of an inner citadel, a space where truth prevails over fleeting social approval. The rejection of validation-seeking mirrors this. To anchor one's worth in the ephemeral approval of others is to build a fortress on shifting sands. The Sigma male, with a stoic-tinged awareness, recognizes that true value resides in internal integrity, in aligning actions with one's own principles. This isn't about ignoring feedback, it's about filtering it through the sieve of one's own moral compass. It's understanding that external praise or criticism are mere ripples on the surface of a deeper, more enduring inner sea. The Sigma male's refusal to blindly follow social norms is a testament to the Stoic emphasis on living in accordance with nature, one's own nature. To mindlessly adhere to societal expectations is to live a life dictated by external forces, a life of reactive conformity. The Sigma male seeks to understand the why behind conventions, to discern whether they serve a genuine purpose or merely perpetuate hollow traditions. This isn't about rebellion for its own sake, it's about a conscious choice to live authentically, to craft a life that resonates with one's own intrinsic values. The distaste for small talk stems from a recognition of the preciousness of time and mental energy. To engage in superficial interactions is to squander these resources on trivialities. The Sigma male, with a Stoic-like focus on virtue and wisdom, seeks to engage in conversations that elevate the mind, that explore the depths of human experience. This isn't about being aloof, it's about prioritizing substance over fleeting pleasantries, about cultivating meaningful connections that enrich the soul. Finally, the refusal to live for the weekend is a rejection of the idea that life is a series of peaks and valleys, a cycle of drudgery and fleeting pleasure. The Sigma male, with a Stoic appreciation for the present moment, seeks to infuse every day with purpose and meaning. This isn't about denying the need for rest or recreation, it's about understanding that true fulfillment comes from living a life of continuous engagement, of finding joy in the pursuit of virtue and excellence, regardless of the day of the week. Thus, the Sigma male, in his quiet, resolute way, embodies a philosophy that transcends mere rebellion. He lives a life of deliberate intention, guided by an inner compass that points towards truth, integrity, and authenticity. He understands that true freedom lies not in conforming to external expectations, but in cultivating an inner citadel of strength and wisdom. And in doing so, he invites us all to question the scripts we follow, to examine the patterns we perpetuate, and to forge our own paths towards a life of greater meaning and fulfillment.